10,000 Maniacs. Plus, stay tuned for Record Guide track facts and a Record Guide giveaway.
We're two of 10,000 Maniacs.
And you're watching the all-new Record Guide.
Presenting the world's greatest stars.
And the nation's hottest hits.
And I believe it could be something good bound to come. For out on the edge.
Let's begin with 2 of 10,000 Maniacs in the Record Guide Spotlight.
Well, hi guys, welcome to the Record Guide Spotlight.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, can you tell us who is or who are 10,000 Maniacs?
My name is Natalie Merchant.
And I'm Rob Buck.
You can tell them about anyone who isn't here.
Well, and there's 3 other members, Jerry Augustiniak on drums, Stephen Gustafson on bass, and Dennis Drew on keyboards.
Well, how did 10,000 Maniacs get together? There's only 5 actually, so how did you get together?
We all happen to live in the same town in western New York, very small town. And there weren't many people who were actually interested in making music that was original, so we sort of fell in together that way.
So now you have a new album. What's it called?
In My Tribe. Want to see it?
There it is.
Produced by Peter Asher.
Peter Asher, the name rings a bell. Can you tell us how you hooked up with Peter Asher to produce your first big album, I guess?
Well, Robert Krasnow, the president of Elektra Records, saw us play at the Ritz last September in New York. And it was the first time he'd seen us, and he really enjoyed the band, and the wheels started to turn in motion, and he knows Peter Asher and is real familiar with his work, and he contacted him, and Peter Asher came to see us in Buffalo at just before Christmas, and he decided that night that he wanted to work with us, and 8 weeks later we were in LA recording the album with Peter Asher, and also George Massenburg, who engineered it, who's one of the most famous engineers of all time.
What was it like working with them?
They really knew what they were doing. I mean, they're real geniuses when it comes to their craft. Peter Asher is a master organizer, and George Massenburg was just a genius engineer. So they were on another level.
Because our first album on Elektra was produced by Joe Boyd, whose work included people like Nick Drake and Fairport Convention. Those are British groups from the 70s. That was when he did most of his work. And he also owns an independent label called Hannibal Records, which puts out lots of South African groups and obscure folk music in England. And I remember Mr. Krasnow said that he warned us that he's a socialist producer, that he'd give us too much freedom, and we'd make a record that sounded just like our independent records, which he did give us lots of freedom, but it was more professionally recorded, I'd say. But it didn't have the same sort of quality that the Asher record has. Something about the state-of-the-art technology that was used in the studio. We recorded it digitally, and the Wishing Chair, this other album, was recorded on analog tape, and there's a difference in the clarity.
Yeah, there's quite a big difference. We used a lot of the most modern equipment to record our sound as precisely as possible. And then, well, that's what Peter Asher did, was make everything we do very precise and perfect. He didn't really change anything we did. He just made it all perfect.
The actual sounds are really well developed, which they weren't in the other album. The other album, we just pretty much went in and played everything live, and then I just sang over, and Rob did overdubs on guitar, but... Actually, we did that a lot on this album, too, didn't we?
Yeah.
About 4 songs we recorded live completely.
What's the current release from the album?
Peace Train is the single, which is being played on radio now.
That's the same Peace Train that Cat Stevens wrote?
Cat Stevens wrote it, and I believe it was popular in 1972.
What made you choose that particular song?
I love the film Harold and Maude, and I love Ruth Gordon. And last summer I saw we rented the video, my friend Penny and I, and the Cat Stevens soundtrack really haunted me for days, and I'd forgotten about him, and he was just this character in my childhood, this voice. And when we were at rehearsal, just as a joke, Dennis, after we discussed it, brought a songbook of Cat Stevens, and we learned Peace Train immediately, and we all loved it, and we started playing it live, and people responded to it really warmly. So we thought, why not try it?
How about music videos? Have you made a video for the single?
Yes, we did.
What was that like?
Absurd.
That was quite an experience, actually.
We weren't bouncing around in a bubble or in a pinball machine, but we were
on a raft.
On a raft.
And, well, it was quite hot too. We filmed it in a little town called Kent, in Connecticut, and it was really quite hot. It was like 110 degrees on the raft, and we were in suits and various outfits when we were filming it.
Don't take too much of the magic away.
No, but I enjoyed it because it reminded me of my favorite movies like Deliverance and Aguirre, Wrath of God, and Fitzcarraldo, and all those sort of river movies. So it was a lot of fun to make a river video.
Did anything happen during the making of the video that may show up on the screen or not show up that is unusual?
The boat almost sunk.
So you don't see that.
Well,
It's really idyllic. It's a beautiful place, and our director was Nick Brandt, and he directed the video by XTC for the song Dear God. You've seen it? Yes, I think it's a really brilliant video, and he had a vision when he came to America. He said he was looking for this perfect spot. He said that he was really bored with the landscape in England, and that he wanted something grand, and he found this beautiful setting. And a wonderful thing about the video is that we all agreed, before ever even discussing it, we all independently agreed that we wanted an outdoor setting and we wanted children to be somewhere in the video.
Boats, actually.
Yeah, actually boats came to mind too. So it seemed like when we met him, he wrote up a treatment, and everything, all those elements were included, so we thought we'd work with him. And the children were great. They were all just from the area. And by the end of the shooting, in 2 days, I felt like I had about 25 new little brothers and sisters when I left. It was so fun. They're really open and loving children. And they're all excited that they're on the video, too. I get letters now that say, oh, life's really boring now that you guys are gone.
About the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as wide, and I believe it could be something good bound to come. For out on the edge of darkness, there lies the peace train. Peace train, take me fancy, come take me home again. Peace train sounding louder, ride on the peace train. Hoo-ah-dee-ah-hoo-ah, come on the peace train. Peace train's a holy roller, everyone jump upon the peace train. Hoo-ah-dee-ah-hoo-ah.
It's time for the Record Guide giveaway.
The Record Guide has 50 of our albums to give away. To get your free album, send your cards and letters to
The Record Guide giveaway, 10,000 Maniacs, P.O. Box 4007, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 08034.
Be sure to include the call letters of the station you're watching, and remember, one album per household.
How has music video played into the career of 10,000 Maniacs?
It really hasn't that much up to this point. We made a video for Scorpio Rising off of the last song, and that was in our hometown. It was us in a 120-year-old theater in our hometown just playing live on stage. And now we've done this one, so that's about it. That's our video history.
How would you describe the music of the group?
That's a very interesting question. We have our own sound. Because we come from a small area, I think we are kind of isolated somewhat from a lot of the trends that were going on in some of the bigger metropolitan centers. And it's a blending of a lot of things from folk rock to Caribbean, African influences to American bluegrass, a little bit of everything, actually, a conglomerate, and it just comes out as us somehow.
Which I think is the approach that lots of bands are taking. Because they call it world music, I suppose, because it's just so accessible, music of other cultures, music of other times. When I go into a record store, there's everything available that's ever been recorded is there. So I'm really intrigued by music in some other countries that use different meter and different melody, things that I've never been exposed to, at least not in my childhood. So.
Yeah, we've been influenced by a lot of stuff, and we go through different periods, it seems, as a band, too, and listening to various things.
Before the Wishing Show, I was obsessed with British folk music, which is pretty appropriate since we used Joe Boyd and we recorded a Scottish folk song on the album and all. But I started listening to gospel and soul music more than folk since that album. I think it shows, you can't help it. You become influenced even if you're really not concentrating and making an effort to be.
I understand you're on tour. Where are you going?
Well, we're leaving for London soon, and we're playing in Europe, and then we return and do the West Coast alone. No, actually, we're playing with a band called Downey Mildew. Just recently put out an album on Texas Records. And then we tour with R.E.M. for almost the entire month of October on the East Coast.
I understand you were joined by a member of R.E.M. on one of your tracks.
Michael sings on a song called A Campfire Song. He just sings a short section in the bridge.
Are you guys friends?
The bands have been acquainted for about 4 years now. We've known each other.
Yeah, we started to play in Athens, Georgia, R.E.M.'s hometown, very early in our career, actually. And we got to know all the people, musicians from Athens, and they're all very friendly. It's a very beautiful town.
There's a sense of community there and camaraderie. Everyone seems to help out everyone else, and they extended that to us.
Yeah, it was like a home away from home. It felt like it was a very comfortable place to go and play.
Well, at this point in time with your new album, what would you like to see happen to 10,000 Maniacs in this coming year?
That's hard to say. I think, we just want to be able to keep on, myself, I think we all want to just be able to keep on doing what we're doing for a living and, not have to give it up because we can't make enough money. Hopefully we can just keep on doing this for as long as we'd like to.
Natalie, how about you? What would you like to be doing?
In the next year?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see this album be listened to by lots of people, because I think we worked 2 years on it, and it's a very well thought out and a very well made album, and it'd be a shame if nobody heard it. And after they hear it, I'd like them to want to come see us play live, because that's basically what we've always been, is a group that tours city to city and continues to play and give people the experience of seeing a live band, something that lots of people don't experience anymore. I think that live entertainment is vanishing. I know that the club scene is dwindling. We go to a town where there used to be 6 clubs to play, and now there's 1 club. And it's a shame because I'd like to see us also in the next year have to be able to stop playing clubs. I'd like to play places where all ages are admitted. Here's one of my favorite songs on the all-new record guide.
It's time for Record Guide Track Facts.
What group recorded the 1972 top 10 hit Layla, and who was their lead guitarist? Stay tuned, we'll have the answer in a moment.
With conditioners proves tough can be beautiful.
Here's a record guide track fact.
Derek and the Dominoes recorded the 1972 hit Layla, with Eric Clapton on lead guitar.
Hey, thanks for watching the all-new Record Guide. I'm Rob.
And I'm Natalie of 10,000 Maniacs. We hope you tune in next time for more of the nation's hottest hits.
Till then, as this edition spins to a close, here's some more great music.